All right, on this episode here at the ABCA convention, we talk about how crow hops translate to the mound
and the king of the hill.
All right, Brent Porcio, Rich Duno here, the At Top Velocity show in, where are we? Anaheim, California, at the ABCA convention. Like I said, with Rich Duno here in our booth. We got the King of the Hill, which is Rich's product, and we've got Top Velocity, which is us. And it's a great relationship. I've never had Rich on the show, but excited to have you on the show. If you don't know, his product is the King of the Hill. It's a Why don't you define it? Let me see your sales pitch, Rich. Give us your sales pitch.
Hey, well, you're just like Brett. I believe that the lower half should be taught first, and without the lower half working, the upper half is not going to perform as well as we want it to. Velocity, arm stress, everything else. And it's based off of getting the kids to use the lower half, creating that force off that back leg into the front leg that causes everything to work. A lot of it's based off of what actually Brett's teaching too, and his little actually his big program is becoming more and more popular all through the year.
Ground forces, and that's so important to the whole system. If we can get more force initially in the movement, then we have more force or energy to get up the chain, and our stuff really complements well. So if you want to check out the trainer, you can go to
trainwiththeking.com.
trainwiththeking.com. You'll see my program on there too. Also, if you go to topvelocity.net, you can get it on there as well. Talk about all the success you've had. I don't want to spin the camera right now, but he's got some great banners showing all the successes. Just talk some of the teams and teams and organizations that brought you in.
All right, the first one I like to show is Vanderbilt. They actually permanently built 2 King of the Hills on the mound. TCU uses it. The Washington Nationals use it. Actually, the Washington Nationals sent one down to the Dominican Academy and down to one of the Venezuelan Academy and put it all the way from rookie ball all the way up to AAA. And we keep on talking, and this is the biggest thing I talk about now. We want to train the lower half to get it to do its job before we start working on the upper half. The lower half is what leads to upper half performance.
Yeah, that's
especially that stress on that arm.
Right. That's huge for arm health and also huge for performance. But I'm sure you can probably find any organization in baseball, and they've really adapted to the King of the Hill. I think it's really taken off. I'm so happy to be associated with it, and it's been a really good relationship with us, and we have so much fun down here at the ABCA.
Too much fun. Too much fun.
So can you hang on for a few questions for the show?
Yeah.
Dylan Waldner asks, is there any connection between my velo from a crow hop and velo from the mound? As in, is it possible to throw harder on the mound, or is the crow hop going to be my peak velocity?
I think it's a good point. Talk about, Rich, first, the challenges of gaining velocities in a running throw or a crow hop and then trying to get it on the mound. Talk about the challenges of that and how the plate would help that.
You know what, to me, that energy that they're creating by running and crow hopping and throwing, that linear speed directly correlates with the hip rotating and the velocity of the arm. Well, on the mound, we can't crow hop, so how do we got to get that? We go right into our leg drive, or force into that front leg that causes it, and that's what the King of the Hill does.
Yes, it helps you learn and understand how well you're driving, which is where you're going to get that energy that you're getting in your run when you get on the mound, right?
Right, exactly. There's no doubt about it.
Go ahead,
I think it's pretty simple. When I played pro ball with the Orioles and the Pods, I roomed with a guy from Australia. The game's called cricket. If you want to run and throw the ball, go over to Australia and play some cricket. But if you want to play baseball, it's called a mound. It's simple, guys. Kids, keep it simple, silly, or stupid, however you want to do it.
You know, that is so true. Like when I would talk to players about running throws, they would laugh at me. I feel like the guy who invented a running throw either was an outfielder or he definitely wasn't a pitcher.
He was cricket. He played cricket. And the bat's not round. It's flat. I mean, we're in the wrong continent.
Well, that's perfect. All right, next question.
We're going live. So
I'm going to see if do you have a question for Rich?
For Rich.
Yeah.
You got a question for us?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's bring it up. Here we go.
Let me think of it.
Are you going to think of it? Okay. Good question for the show.
Okay, so Rich.
Well, let's get it. Let me introduce you, ready? Okay. All right, we brought someone else in. We've got Andrew. Is it Weissman?
Yes, it is.
Where are you from?
Very good. I was born in New York, but I live in Slovakia.
Slovakia. Awesome. European. I love European baseball. I actually think I've played the Slovakian national team.
I coached it.
You did? I was right there.
Who'd you play for?
AIST, American International Sports.
Oh yeah,
Team.
did you play up in Prague?
Yep,
In Prague
Baseball
too?
Week. We
When?
won it 4 years in a row.
Yeah, I know. When was the last time you played?
Well, we were, I think 3 years ago we were there.
So there's a kid, was just Yaro Sita, he was a junior.
yeah.
Yaro is going to play up at...
He's
up
here?
at-
He came over?
I got him. I'm coaching him this year. He's
No
going to play
way.
pro ball.
No way. I know he's great.
His swing is now 105 miles an hour.
Jeez, yeah, he's impressive. He's impressive. Well, that's cool. We have something to talk about. So, do you have get the focus on here? Do you have a question for us?
So how do you think your method is most successful getting players who have been taught to overthrust the upper half, to bring their center of gravity down and really reserve the lower half?
I've never heard it that well put. That was impressive.
Go ahead, Brett.
It's a great question. I think what you're finding is a lot of the young kids haven't developed the leg strength and core strength and power to use or to lower their center of mass. So they overcompensate. So unfortunately, that's why we've adapted to more of an understanding of strength and conditioning. If you can't build them to better, more explosive lower half athletes, you're going to have a hard time, biomechanically teaching them how to use it. So you're trying to teach them how to use something they don't have a lot of. That's why they just want to overcompensate. And
So I have a follow-up question. As you're building the mass, what do you do to ensure that they maintain the flexibility so that they can have the explosion that you're looking for?
So there's 4 studies that showed flexibility improves with strength and conditioning as long as you're lifting through full ranges. That's really, unfortunately, there's not a lot of science proving that. I think that mentality came about when we saw bodybuilders hypertrophy and get really big and then they couldn't wipe their butts.
Yes.
But if we're training like Olympic lifters or, like traditional weight lifters, full body movements, you don't lose the flexibility. Some of the biggest, strongest lifters in Olympic lifting can do splits and wrap their legs around their bodies. So it really shouldn't cause a loss of flexibility and mobility if done through full ranges. And now there's exercises for improving mobility with band stretching and flossing and stuff like this. So we do have techniques to combat that and make sure that we don't lose that, because you're right, mobility is just as critical as the strength and power because it gives them more time to generate the energy through the lower half and move it up.
Follow-up question. What would you think would be the ideal age to start? I'm a believer that you build from the inside out, so you build from the frame to the muscles. So children have a natural elasticity, and it seems like, to me, in my observation of pitchers, is somewhere around 17 or 18 that natural elasticity starts to go away. And a lot of coaches don't know how to train that elasticity back in. When would you think it would be proper to introduce elasticity, special elasticity drills to an athlete?
This is going to be my favorite show ever. So, elasticity, I look at the skin. The skin is more elastic, younger. Hormones drive that. Testosterone drives that.
Kicking us out.
So we can influence elasticity through enhancing hormonal production. So loading the body forces our hormones to lift, and we get a little bit more of that elasticity. But you're never going to really rebuild back to a 15-year-old's elasticity. So what you're going to have to do is enhance more power and speed through the movement and just try to work best with what you have. But yeah, when they're young, they can really rely on that. But as that rubber band becomes more brittle as they age, they have to get better at timing of movement and more power of movement. That's the only way to combat.
Well, I would. We done?
No, go ahead.
Oh no, because I could do this all day. See, if I was over here with you, we'd be talking about this all day.
I love it. All right, well, let's end with that. Rich, anything y'all want to add? Y'all want to add to
Oh,
that?
it's good. We got what? 2 more days? 3 more days?
Yeah,
Knock
so-
it out.
Okay, so I'll come over tomorrow and we'll follow this up, because I have I'm old.
You're older. You're never old. You're
All right,
just
well,
older.
Believe me.
There you go.
I'm even older inside.
We'll see you on the
here
next
than I-
episode.